Harihi Om Tats. Harihi Om Tats. Jai Guru. Spirituality, when you understand it properly, is solely a pursuit of wisdom, knowledge, enlightenment. By this pursuit of wisdom or enlightenment, what does spirituality propose to gain for the human life? Whatever human life needs, spirituality will be able to gain. Now, who or what is to determine our need? Primarily, it is the mind. Secondly, it is the intelligence. Often we find that the needs of the mind are not reflected upon, reasoned about, examined by the intelligence. So the needs remain divergent from what the intelligence will probably approve of. This disparity or divergence between the mind and the intelligence is the cause of all confusion. In human personality, intelligence is the only factor which thrives on knowledge, seeks knowledge, and gets fulfilled by knowledge. So far as the mind is concerned, it is constantly in a state of flux. It is given to various kinds of emotions. The primary emotions are love, hatred or hate, and fear. Whenever the mind works, you will always find that it is underscored by one or more of these three emotions: love, hatred, and fear. In Sanskrit and in the language of Bhagavad Gita, we call it Raga, Dvesha, Bhaya. You cannot normally expect the mind to think free of Raga, Dvesha, Bhayas. This being the nature of the mind, it becomes a struggle for the good human being to have a mind which is able to be free of undue emotions. A mind which is able to constantly work in harmony with the intelligence. And the intelligence also starts inquiring in a little more deep manner about life, about world. Actually, these two are sufficient. Because religion is a dominant influence, you can say, about God and religion also. The purpose of spirituality and the process of spirituality is to bring a close integration between intelligence and the mind. We use our intelligence for a variety of external purposes. All the discoveries, inventions in different walks of life are a result of our intelligence. While our intellectuality or intelligentiality, so to say, is employed for external purposes, very seldom you find a person who employs his intelligence to study the mind, improve its working, understand the impurity and constriction of the mind, and try to get rid of them. In spirituality, if you mean the subject properly, there is a constant effort to apply the intelligence to the mind's workings. And what do you achieve by that? The mind will be able to act, react, and respond to without constrictions, without inhibitions, without undue preferences and prejudices. Suppose you allow the sunlight to pass through a specific tunnel. You will get only that much of light and heat which the tunnel can permit. Suppose you take away the tunnel, you will find sunlight spreads all over the earth. I should say the mind is a far greater sun. Normally what we do is that We make the mind function through the tunnel of raga, dvesha and bhaya. As a result of which, we get a little of it, but in a distorted manner. But if you are able to project your mind or display your mind, without these tunnels or without these constrictions, you will find it becomes a much better radiance, more comfortable than even the sun. Unfortunately, spirituality is not understood to be so. The difference between spirituality and religion is that religious pursuit always depends upon an external, distant, invisible God. And the devotee never comes to know what is this God. God is never brought to him, nor does he take himself to God. He starts speaking and thinking about God and he dies, that's all. But in spirituality, the focus is very clear, precise and full. Expressed in terms of religion, the spiritual seeker brings God to himself and takes himself to God. God is no more distant to him, invisible to him, external to him. He becomes everything, including himself. When the constrictions of the mind are done away with, then you will find the same mind which was giving you misery and confusion will start bestowing peace, joy and fullness and abundance. In one short sentence I can say, spirituality aims at redressing the poverty of the mind and make it amply rich, opulent. In other words, spirituality solely intends to generate in the mind a sense of sufficiency, affluence, abundance and fullness. Now this is possible for anybody who has the mind. It's not necessary that he should be educated, he should be resourceful otherwise. Provided he has the mind, I think this inner sufficiency and fullness can be cultivated. That is why spirituality attracts and many people are led to spirituality. They may not be educated, but they are certainly interested in, and the practice is possible. If you are intelligent also, then spirituality will also have a much greater explanation, so to say. You can explain many things. Spirituality demands that your intelligence be constantly employed to recognize the mind disorders or the mind insufficiencies or the mind irregularities, and then understanding them, remove them. How will you remove them? By knowing the defect. By knowing the defect. By knowing the defect, it is removed. Light, by bringing light, darkness is gone. Then by knowing the qualities are imbibed. When you know, to make the mind free of constrictions is very good. That very knowledge makes you get rid of the constrictions. Every time the constriction puts its trouble, you recognize it and no, this is not right, I should get rid of it, that's all. That is the way it disappears. So it's a completely mento-intellectual effort. I would like you to understand this, think about it repeatedly so that you will be able to imbibe and incorporate the message. Hari Om Tats Jai Guru.